Barcelona will have a new goalkeeper from next weekend. It's gonna be Joan Garcia. The Here We Go is coming soon because the agreement with the player is done already.
For Barcelona, it's been coming for a while, watching Ter Stegen make one mistake after another in La Liga and especially in the Champions League. The fans knew that they needed something new. And somehow, that answer came from right across the city. Joan Garcia, a keeper who's been quietly rising, saving Espanyol point after point, year after year. But who is he really? Let's go back, before the headlines, before the transfer. This is where Joan Garcia's story really begins. Joan Garcia was born in Sellén, Barcelona on May 4th, 2001. His path to the top began after his brother convinced him to go in goal, then spells at Manresa and Dam before joining Espanyol in 2016. He made his debut with the Espanyol reserves in 2019, but at this point, Joan Garcia wasn't just a local name. He was one of the brightest talents in the country. He'd already played at under 17, under 18 and under 19 level for the Spanish youth teams, becoming one of the most dependable young keepers around. And by 2021, Garcia had hit big time. He made his debut for Espanyol's first team in the 3-2 win against Solaris Medio in the Copa del Rey in December 2021. And less than a month later, he'd gotten the nod in La Liga as well. The 2-1 loss to Elche at home was his debut in Spanish football's top division. Over the next 2 years, Joan Garcia continued to grind in Espanyol. In the 2022-23 season, he was back up to Álvaro Fernández. He did manage to make a league appearance that season on the final day of the campaign, but ultimately became part of an Espanyol team that got relegated. However, the descent back to Spanish football's second division was just the start Joan Garcia needed. 21 appearances in the 2023-24 campaign for Espanyol. Joan Garcia had become so good that he didn't just help Espanyol to get back to La Liga via the playoffs. He was voted as the club's best player that season. And so we're down to where his story kicked off because, in the just concluded season, Joan Garcia exploded. Espanyol may have finished 13th in the league, but a big reason why they didn't get relegated again was because of Garcia in goal. With his 145 saves, a 73% save percentage. Joan Garcia made more saves than any other goalkeeper in La Liga. If we expand this metric to include other goalkeepers in the league, Garcia is first for the most saves and the most interceptions from a goalkeeper, and we will get to why this is important and has become a factor for FC Barcelona as well. The most shots saved, 8 clean sheets in La Liga, 2 penalties saved. He's done all this while playing for Espanyol, and these are just the stats. At the start of the season, he was already making serious waves.
Sherlock, Joan Garcia comes out, the cross, not cut out, brilliant save!
Against Atletico Madrid at the Wanda Metropolitano, Espanyol earned a point with the 0-0 draw thanks to the Catalan keeper. He made 7 saves in the game and topped this with 9 long balls, 9 recoveries, 19 accurate passes, and 50 touches on the ball in general. All of this is proof that he can be just as effective on the ball as he is when it gets down to his basic duty of making saves as well. Doing it against Atletico Madrid is one thing, but doing this against Real Madrid, that's an even bigger level. Man of the match in the 1-0 win against Real Madrid, who at the time were top of La Liga. That's man of the match performances against the 2 biggest teams in the city of Madrid. The stats, the performances, even winning the Save of the Month award for this in February. An award he'd win back-to-back in the just concluded season. It all added up, and at the end of the season he was picking up some top awards. He was voted into the La Liga team of the season. This itself is an impressive achievement considering the names that make this up. But with no disrespect to the club, doing it with Espanyol almost makes it even better. And with that exposure, Joan Garcia has now become a top transfer target for many clubs. Actually, this dates back to last season. Just before Arsenal got David Raya, Garcia was one of the names that the Gunners were looking at in the goalkeeping position. Their interest in him was so strong that even after getting David Raya, there were still reports suggesting they'd be willing to go after him. Other teams like Newcastle United, Bournemouth, Aston Villa, all these clubs were interested, and I guess all of this created an interesting situation for him. Garcia didn't want to be a backup. He didn't want to be number 2. He'd earned the right to become a starter, And this wasn't off the back of playing for Espanyol. He was a part of the Spanish team that won gold at the 2024 Olympic Games. Winning with that team, experiencing what it was like with a crop of players he had played with at youth levels proper. It gave Garcia a clear idea, a clear path. He was ready to make the move and his choice became a big one. He chose Barcelona. This is bound to be huge. Not just for the player, but for the club as well. Guess it's safe to say despite winning the league, there were a few cracks with that Barcelona team, particularly at the back. Just a few weeks into the start of the season, first-choice goalie Ter Stegen had suffered a knee injury, effectively ruling him out for the rest of the season.
Overshadowed, though, by the injury to Ter Stegen. We speculated yesterday and he will be out for a long period of time.
This was a huge blow. Even though they had Iñaki Peña as a deputy, the club knew they needed a long-term fix, and so by October last year, they made a shocking decision.
The team looks amazing. So it's exciting, it's a challenge for me, and it's a challenge that I face with a lot.
They got 36-year-old Wojciech Szczesny, who had just retired months back at Juventus, to come out of retirement. The idea was for Szczesny to act as backup to Peña, but as the season progressed, the situation became very clear.
Cuando digo algo bueno sobre Tec, esto significa que Iñaki quizá...
Despite praising Iñaki Peña here, Hansi Flick admitted that Szczesny was going to be the first choice for Barcelona. At the start, he'd made some mistakes, but as the season progressed, it grew into something more, and Hansi Flick was willing to stick with him. Why? The personality.
Different, he's more calm, and he sometimes he smoke a little bit, but it's like that. He's brilliant. I never had a player like him. Because he's in the right age, and...
Or in this case, the calmness and assurance that he could bring in goal, but even with the polished keeper coming out of retirement, it was still obvious he was a short-term fix to get the team over the line in the season. Long-term, the reality, Barcelona had 3 goalkeepers and neither one managed to fit the description. Ter Stegen was injured, and despite his return a few weeks back, his place as number 1 wasn't assured. On one hand, Ter Stegen was a key part of the Barça team that last won the treble in 2015. He became a first-team regular, named one of the captains and best players from 2019 to 2022, but after that, his performances dipped. The performance against Monaco before his injury this season is a classic example. It's not that he's hated, but it has just gotten to a point where even the most diehard of Barcelona fans knows the truth. If this team wants to go far in competitions again, particularly the Champions League, the team needs a new goalkeeper. With Szczesny, it's a case of him being the backup option. He's signed a contract extension that keeps him at the club for 1 more year, but even with that, he is not a long-term plan for Barcelona and neither is Peña. Then it comes down to the system as well. It's very clear that this Barcelona team under Hansi Flick is very direct, and at the same time, the team wants to play with a high line. It's a high-risk, high-reward system that can work as they've shown this season. Loads of goals hit for the system to be truly effective, and high press can only work with a stable option in goal.